Ambassador Haqqani.
When was the last time that there was a meeting with Ambassador Haqqani? Do you know?
Very recently.
Like within the last couple of days?
I believe there's one today, so.
One today? And also, do you have a readout on...
But it hasn't happened, so I don't know what the previous one was.
Okay. Do you have a readout on Beth Jones' visit today?
I don't. I'll take the question.
Okay. And can you check and see if this issue came up during her meetings?
Sure.
Okay.
And who is he meeting today? Ambassador Haqqani?
I don't know.
To Kenya, has the State Department received a request from Kenya for assistance with its operations in Somalia?
My understanding is that the request for assistance, they did request, the government of Kenya rather, has publicly requested support from the international community, not necessarily from the United States directly, for its military operation in Somalia. And it was done, I believe, through a multilateral body like the Intergovernmental Authority on Development during its meeting in Addis Ababa. Our position on this is that we believe that, it's important for the region, and in particular the African Union, to take the lead in developing a consensus on the way forward regarding these Kenyan requests and how they should relate to ongoing stabilization efforts in Somalia.
Do you know specifically what they requested?
Sorry, I don't have the details now.
So does that mean that the U.S. is not going to assist them and is going to wait for its African neighbors to do it?
I think we're looking for a regional response and kind of a coherent fashion that, that looks at the bigger picture here. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you're thrilled with the unity, but what is this resolution supposed to accomplish?
Well, we did release, Secretary, we just released a statement, I think, before you guys came in here.
Okay.
My apologies for, what's that?
That's what the White House did.
And the White House as well,
Yeah.
certainly. So what was your question again, Brad? I'm sorry.
What should this resolution accomplish?
Well, it was a strong, as you said, strong sign of unity on the part of the international community, in the wake of the Amana report, basically saying that, that the international community is of one mind when it comes to Iran's nuclear program, and that is that it is concerned and it's calling on Iran to live up to its obligations and to address the very serious concerns about its nuclear program.
And how does this resolution take the international community any closer to stopping Iran from continuing down the path it's going on?
Well, I think it's important to see it as part of a, however you want to call it, a multi-pronged effort. It sends a very important and clear and unequivocal message, we think, to Iran, that its activities are unacceptable to the international community. And in that regard, it is important that it's a very unified message, and I believe the vote was overwhelmingly for this resolution. But we also have a number of different areas. As you know, the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 1929 that implemented or instituted the most serious financial sanctions to date against Iran.
A year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago,
Yeah.
but sanctions that are having an effect, and frankly that was acknowledged as recently as a couple of weeks ago by President Ahmadinejad. We have worked tirelessly with partners and allies on how to enforce those sanctions in a way that makes them as effective as possible. And we do believe that the resolution today is an effective springboard for other measures that we're looking to pursue in the coming days and months.
Now, is that multilateral measures you're talking
Both.
about? Both multilateral and...
I think we're looking for additional, I'll just characterize it as additional measures.
Now, have you had any indication from the Russians or the Chinese, and I know the President met with his counterparts, both of them, in Hawaii, about a greater willingness to consider multilateral sanctions?
Well, again, let's
new
be,
multilateral sanctions.
but again, we've got very strong sanctions regime in place. It's important that we work to enforce that in a way that maximizes its capabilities. And let's be very clear: Russia and China were both on board voting for that sanctions regime. And they were on board with today's resolution. So, there is, we believe, a unified stance here.
So
Did you want China and Russia to go to the UN Security Council
Well, it's
after this report?
again, there's some, I don't want to call it confusion, but Iran's already been in front of the, referred to the Security Council, and so the council can take this issue up at any time if it chooses to.
So when you talk about maximizing the capabilities under 1929,
Enforcement, I'm talking about, ways to.
enforcement, but you're not talking about new measures under the scope or the mandate given under that resolution that aren't in place right now.
I think our focus now is on enforcement of the existing measures.
Just a quick follow-up on the IAEA. I mean, if
No, I just said I'll get there. It was a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
nod. to
yeah.
it. Go ahead and finish your question.
Okay. Yeah, you almost said that we are at the maximized level of sanctions. So what else could you do, and what disincentive should the Iranians have if they are really already reeling under the maximized level of sanctions?
Well, again, there is still this dual track, strategy. We do believe that a diplomatic solution is ultimately the way to resolve this situation, as a way for Iran to pull itself out of the mess that it finds itself in. So there is a diplomatic process if Iran is willing to engage meaningfully with it.
Mark,
Yeah, go ahead.
yesterday, the U.S. ambassador to Moscow met with the Russian deputy foreign minister. Although this was yesterday and therefore before the approval of this resolution, do you have a readout of that meeting?
I do not. And you're talking about our ambassador in
Moscow.
No, and I can certainly see if Iran was on the
Well,
on the
it
agenda.
was.
It certainly probably was.
It definitely was.
The next thing out of my mouth. But bilateral missions all the time are engaged in those kinds of meetings with high level host government contacts.
East Asia, Undersecretary Sherman's trip. You sent out this guidance today, but I was wondering if you can elaborate more on her agenda there. Specifically, I don't know if she's going to be talking about North Korea in any of the countries, and also in Japan, if she's going to be discussing Futenma relocation or TPP.
I mean, I prefer to, certainly all the issues that you raised are issues that are, that are on the forefront of our agenda with many of these countries. But I'd rather let her meetings take place, and then we can try to get you a readout of what issues they actually did discuss.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kim.
I just got an email that there was a change in
I
Treasury.
hate the connectivity. in here,
I know.
Really.
Well, I can't follow the link, so that's why I'm asking you. Has there been a change in any sanctions regarding Libya? Has there been a lifting of sanctions or anything that you're aware of?
What I'm aware of, and I also heard it before I came down here, was, and I don't have it, unfortunately, but there was, I believe that Libya was thank you. Was he reelected to the Human Rights Council? That's all I know.
Okay.
Thanks, and we welcome that. Sure.
It seems that President Saleh backpedaled today. He's saying that he wants to serve the remainder of his term. Do you have any comment on that?
He needs to sign the GCC agreement and step aside so that a democratic transition can take place. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, Locke. Sure. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
It's just Friday. We're so close here.
In Brussels, the head of the European Parliament's delegation for relations with Iraq raised concerns about the fate of Camp Ashraf refugees. He said that Iraq has served a virtual death warrant on the residents, and he pointed to an embassy note from the Iraqi government saying that they're committed to close the camp by the end of 2011.
That's correct. Yeah.
And it says that dissidents there are terrorists, and the Iraqis deny they have refugee status, and therefore the Europeans are fearing that the UNHCR will not be able to interview them as
Well, we
as
are
refugees.
working, look, I don't have a detailed response to those accusations. I do know that we are working with international organizations, including UNHCR, to find, a suitable outcome and a suitable destination for these individuals. And we recognize the urgency.